Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Emi, and on today's video, I'm going to show you guys how I like to manage my inventory. So if you've played Guild Wars 2 at all, you know that inventory management can be a complete nightmare. The honest truth is that I've just been playing the game for a very long time, so I know most of the items in the game by heart. As a result, I can tell at a glance what is worth keeping and what is safe to delete. This video is not entirely comprehensive since there's really just too many items in the game for that, but I wanted to share some tips that have made my inventory management much easier. Tip number 0. This is more general game advice than an inventory one, but it shapes a lot of my personal game philosophy and you'll see bits of that throughout the video. Don't optimize the fun out of the game. If you're stressing about whether to salvage with one kit or another in order to save 50 copper and it's making you dread playing the game, don't worry about it. Seriously. What will make you the most amount of money is what keeps you playing the longest. And no matter how bad your inventory is, at least it won't be as bad as this.
Yeah, this is definitely a bit rough. It's gone a little bit. It's a bit out of hand. You know what? I'm actually not messing about with this. Yeah, I'm not going to mess about with it. I don't need gold. Very nice. There we are. Come on. Oh, that's better, isn't it?
Yeah. Alright, official tip number 1. Spend money. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. The fact that you get an overwhelming amount of materials and items is in part that the game has been out for a really long time, but also because a very common business tactic is to create a problem so they can sell the solution. I'll give ANET a bit of a pass here since the game doesn't have a subscription fee, so they have to make their money somewhere. But I would say that it is almost expected that you'll spend some money on convenience items in the gem store if you plan to play the game long term. The ones I would recommend the most, especially when they're on sale, are material storage expanders, bank tab expanders, shared inventory slots, and individual character bag slots. It just is what it is, but having a few of these convenience tools will smoothen out your gameplay massively. Keep in mind that you can convert in-game currency, gold, to gems. So if you're in a position where you can't spend real-life dollars, there is still that option for you. Tip number 2. Have systems in your bank that allow you to streamline common items. This is probably my biggest tip that I love to share on stream. Keep in mind that yes, you will need a lot of bank space for this strategy. For a long-time player like myself that's accumulated a lot of currency, it was something that I found worth investing in. So how do you do it? First, figure out which common items that you run into a lot. For most people, unidentified gear comes to mind. Also things like luck from salvaging, game mode specific boxes like fractal encryptions, or guild decorations from raids. Then, in your bank, create stacks of one of these common items. You can do this by holding Alt and then click and dragging an item to split that stack. As you can see on the screen, I've done this for many sorts of items. The reasoning is that now whenever I'm cleaning my inventory, I just deposit any materials and then I double click the item from my inventory into my bank in the bank window. Then when the stacks all fill up, I set aside the time to process them all in a single pass. Typically anything remaining are things that I don't care about quite as much, so I will salvage, vendor, or destroy. Again, reminder on tip number 0, sometimes people worry a little too much about, oh, I should salvage this specific item with the Black Lion kit so I can save the Sigil of Force. And while that is 100% true, it also means that you have to stop and really memorize every exception to the rule. If that's important to you, absolutely go ahead. But for those that don't mind skipping some gold here and there for their ease of mind, my recommendation is just to sell anything above 1 gold directly on the trading post and then salvage or vendor the rest. Tip number 3. Process your hoard when you have the time and energy according to some universal guidelines. Over time, as the game evolves and more content is added to the game, the optimal way of processing loot will change as well. There are some widely known guilds or resources that you can take advantage of in order to stay in the know. A few of these resources include Fast Farming's website of data, Overflow Trading Company's Discord, Pew's Research Center, and Guild Wars 2 Efficiency. These guys have a ton of information and it can be a lot to sift through. So in this video, I'll go over the big rules that I personally like to follow, and you're welcome to do independent research to see if there's anything else. For example, when processing unidentified gear, you typically want to open the stack before salvaging. This is because you have a small chance to get a higher rarity item than the rarity of the stack itself. For example, if you open a blue stack of gear, you have a chance to get green, yellow, or orange. Then, the general rule of thumb is to use a copper-fed or basic salvage kit to salvage white, blue, or green items. If you have it, use the Rune Crafter's kit from the gem store to salvage green for chances at charms and symbols. And finally, use a silver-fed or mystic salvage kit to salvage yellow and orange. This is because yellow and orange gear have a chance to drop a glob of ectoplasm, which is a highly valuable material that's used for high-end crafting. If you want to be extra careful, there are certain exotic items that have a valuable rune or sigil already inside of them. For example, the Big Juju has a sigil of force. In this case, it can be worth it to use a Black Lion salvage kit to safely remove the sigil, get whatever materials you might salvage out, and then sell the rune directly on the trading post. For those that are lazy, feel free to just sell the item directly instead. Tip number 4. You can save a lot of space by refining materials. Crafting is a rabbit hole to go down if you want to make money, but I'm gonna stick to the obvious. Daily time-gated crafting can sometimes be profitable, such as the ecto refinements or the charged quartz crafting. Common level 80 materials such as mithril ore, elderwood logs, or silk scraps will stack up very quickly. It's not a bad idea to refine a decent chunk of these into their upgraded versions, such as mithril ingots, elderwood planks, or bolts of silk. These items are commonly used for ascended or legendary crafting. Another example is consolidating luck into the exotic version. Keep in mind, you should only be doing this if you are not at the 300% luck cap. You can do this with any character at level 25 artificing by using the crafting bench to promote lower tier luck to higher tier versions. Not only will this save you space, but some legendaries will use the exotic luck as a crafting component, such as the Generation 3 legendary weapons. Keep in mind that you cannot deposit luck into the material storage, so you will need to save space in your bank or have a character mule. Finally, if you've been playing Guers too long enough, you know that bloodstone dust is the bane of every clean inventory. This stuff drops from so many things in the game, it's very easy to cap out your material storage. My recommendation is to craft about 50 or 60 bloodstone bricks and then seriously just delete the rest. If you ever find yourself in need of more, go run a lap around Silver Waste and you'll fill your inventory again. Tip number 5. Use characters that you don't use often as storage mules. I have a couple of these myself and I use them for all kinds of different things. For example, I have a character that holds my raid decorations when they overflow out of my bank, another character that holds crafting materials like mystic coins, ecto, or luck, and on my alt account that doesn't have full legendary, a character filled with ascended gear that I got as drops from open world, strike missions, fractals, or raids. I've heard of people using these guys to hold the dreaded ascended materials or eternal ice shards if they don't want to convert it to volatile magic. It's super common to park these unused characters at jumping puzzles too. Alright, those are the big tips. Now I'm just going to info dump a bunch of other things without elaboration because I'm running out of steam making a YouTube video. These are things that I don't really do that often myself since I'm at a point where I don't need gold in the game anymore, but I'll include them for posterity's sake. Feel free to ask for clarifications in the comment section if you want. There is a free 32 slot bag from a Sandswept Isles collection. Use invisible slot bags to store things like food, utility, keys, miscellaneous consumables, etc. That way you don't accidentally sell them on the trading post. Create your own guild and level it up until it has the 100 guild bank slots. This can serve as a secondary bank. There are also gobblers that exist in the game that can eat low-value currency. You can use the search bar to filter certain items, things like consumable or O. And if you do weekly key farms on a character that you intend to delete, you can put annoying items in their inventory and they will disappear without you needing to type out their name. And that's all I have for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful for managing your inventory slightly better, and veterans, feel free to drop your own tips in the comments below. If you would like to support the channel, please consider liking, subscribing, or commenting to tell me what you think. I'm also an ArenaNet partner, and I stream quite regularly on Twitch, so if you have any questions that you like answered, feel free to swing by and say hi. Thank you very much for watching all the way to the end. I'll see you in the next video.